So I'm just going to give everyone just a brief update on where we are with our NOC services. For customers that have been with us for many years, you will know this by the term of Karma, which is our first iteration of our remote monitoring platform. And so Karma back in 2008 was an in-house written monitoring service, which was traditionally just for one technology, our network access control product that we started KHIPU from. That was the software was created by a very talented engineer using an open source platform called Nagios, which you probably might be aware of. And it went very well. It done a fantastic service for proactive monitoring. And then we started moving into, we didn't call it a NOC at that time because that term really wasn't ready for us, more of a monitoring service, a value add. In 2012, we started to expand our operations to 24/7. When I mean expand, I'm talking about on-call engineers, because back in 2012, there wasn't that many of us, but we had an on-call service. We had 2 to 3 guys that were available out of hours on an on-call basis. In just after 2012, we were up to 100 customers, which was fantastic. Again, quite a small company, as you know, building our portfolio, building our of the different technologies and our messaging. And then in just before 2016, we launched version 2 of Karma. Now, the reason being, and for those who have been in the same situation as us, when you hire talented people who build their own systems, obviously they decide at some point to go on a new career, which they did. And that individual left us with a platform that we couldn't really support. Whilst it was doing a good job monitoring, we had no real means of administering it, adding new services, so on and so forth. So we took quite a quick decision, and we actually purchased off-the-shelf monitoring platforms, which then didn't rely on individuals for customizations. That was our first leap into version 2 of Karma. We then expanded our growth into the health sector. So we started expanding having our NOC service available 24/7, fully staffed, so not on call, actually having people available all the time to help our customers. And then I won't go through other points, but over time we started adding more features. And where we are today is a really exciting time for us. So not only do we have a new management team running our NOC operations 24/7, we have new monitoring tooling, and we have built in a number of new automations using AI and our knowledge base to provide a lot more faster responses and what we call intelligent triage, rather than just the usual up and down. Hello, Mr. Customer, we can't see his device, which great is a great service, but it's understanding more. So what KHIPU class as a NOC is, we class people, our capabilities, the technologies and the services. And the thing which kind of will be highlighting today is our NOC is a true 24/7 operation. It's not just first line engineers. It's a combination of first line, second line, who are certified, who are experienced and are able to troubleshoot and resolve problems. Within the NOC itself, we have a suite of tools, which you can imagine. Our help desk tool, which you'll know about because you log on it, our communication and collaboration tools. But what's very new is our AI automation tools. So for the customers like Chris, Barton Peveril, who have our 24/7 SOC, which is monitoring threats and acting upon them, we use the same automation tools to actually look at problems that we see on a regular basis and actually provide more meaningful ways to respond without necessary human interaction all the time. Obviously, humans are there to help augment the process, but things like logging tickets, alerting should be automated. And then we've moved forward with two new services, Monitor and Monitor Plus, and I'll talk about a bit more detail. Rayan is the good-looking guy with the bow tie. He'll be presenting after me. He's going to do a bit of an overview of the actual new dashboards and what you get out of it. And Etienne, he's our new global TAC manager, has over 20 years of NOC. And the reason why we have the teams available is to actually move our NOC services a lot more, so we provide a lot more value add to our customers. So we have 2 new SLAs, NOC Monitor, 24/7 monitoring for customers, for our existing customer base that have Karma. So we don't brand the service Karma anymore. It's now a NOC Monitor or Monitor Plus service, and it uses Karma to deliver the monitoring side of it. So again, with NOC Monitor, straightforward, 24/7 staff, health monitoring, instant response, and we help set up what we call alerting thresholds. So if we see certain activity which could lead to a problem, we start providing information in tickets and contacting you with more meaningful responses. And I'll talk about that a bit further. But the most exciting part of our new portfolio is NOC Monitor Plus. And we've been working the last 8 months to build in a new service which takes our existing Karma remote monitoring platform to a completely new area where we're providing smart dashboards. So we build specifically to your environment. We basically get your network itself. We build health maps of your entire infrastructure, and we create device moves and then have alerting based upon the type of problems that you have. There's a mobile app, some customers which love to have. And what we're now doing is including additional devices free of charge. So you can bring in technologies such as access control, CCTV, your cloud-based environment, operational devices to see what value you can get out of this service. So any device. So the technology we use underlying our NOC can monitor anything. Obviously, traditionally, we monitor the infrastructure because we're very comfortable with that, which is your Wi-Fi, your firewalls, your radius, all the things that deliver the service. But over time, we've had customers saying, well, actually, I want to start building in my CCTV. I want to start building in my temperature and my humidity sensors, because if I have a problem with a data center and it's air conditioning related, I know it's going to actually affect other areas. So building a kind of a bigger suite of devices so that you can use different types of correlation to determine a problem and then come up with a solution. So this is our standard topology view. And then again, this is a very simple way of bringing all of your infrastructure into one single view. So as I mentioned, the last 8 months, we're building a new dash for customers. And again, we have this in place in a number of customers, such as our hospitals. Some of our councils already using this, and been working with them to come up with a dashboard which works for them. So you have obviously the round sunburst, which we call our topology map. But on the left-hand side, the right-hand side, is what we call our dependency mapping service. So what that is we group various areas of infrastructure with your websites, your ISP, your firewalls, your network, could be your CCTV, your radius, whatever you have. As long as it's got an IP address, we can bring it into the service. So they'll give you a nice, straightforward dashboard that you can start looking at, actually looking at areas how you can improve your monitoring. There's a nice, simple app. So some of our customers are using this already, where we can give you a quick view of your location, your site, your data center, the technologies in use. This example shows an infrastructure with Aruba, with Palo Alto Networks firewalls, ClearPass radius, and then we break it down into each system. So you can get a complete view on your mobile phone on what's the current status of your network. So I mentioned about identifying issues before service affecting. Now, obviously, that's quite a nice salesy term, but it's actually what we've been doing for many years, but haven't really created a commercial model which customers can benefit from. So how we do this is building what we call an onboarding process. So if, for example, you've joined us, okay, I want to go for the Monitor Plus SLA, the key part of it is the onboarding process. So understanding which systems are going to be monitored. Is it going to be the Wi-Fi, the radius, the DNS, DHCP, your LAN switches, your core, your edge, whatever it is? We build that into the onboarding process. Then we have over 30 predefined templates. A predefined template is the things that we monitor for and the percentage thresholds which could cause a problem and then alarm. We give that to you as part of the service. So, for example, I'll talk about it shortly. If we see like certain activity on a firewall, or we see a PoE switch have problems, that is already built into the service, and you can get alerted, and our team will start investigating before it becomes a problem. Then we have what we call our customer-specific requirements. So these are IT devices that are out of our comfort zone, i.e. operational devices that we don't sell, but we want to support and maintain. So CCTV, access control, industrial systems that the manufacturer may have warning thresholds that we can build into this service. Once we've agreed the thresholds, we then agree what the process of response is. So what do we do during normal hours? Who do we contact? How do we contact them? Who do we contact out of hours? What actions are authorized? So for example, if there is an issue at 3 a.m., we agree what actions we can do to mitigate that issue. If based upon your SLA. So if you have a break fix, if you have a break, oh, what's up there? Sorry. If you have a break, oh, can anyone see my screens? Okay, still. Yes, thank you. Thank you for that. So if we have a break fix SLA and we see an issue which is down to say that the switch is blown up, we can't contact it, we looked at the core and we know it's a switch, we can start that RMA process straight away. So again, it all depends on the SLA you have with us, but it gives us the ability to actually start doing remediation outside of normal hours. So if we look at the firewall infrastructure, so in an environment where we have firewalls in place, monitoring the firewall alone, whilst it's great, tenuous up and down, doesn't really give you enough information. If you get a phone call from us, or you get a Teams message for us, or you get an email saying we can't see your firewall, well, that's good to know, but we need to know a bit more information. Otherwise, we can't really provide the necessary troubleshooting and triage that we need to. So what we now do is we build in what we call its dependencies. So we look at the ISP, we look at the connectivity, we look at the speed, we look at the router, we look at the LAN core, the LAN edge, basically what is what the firewall is connected into, and we look at DNS and DHCP to make sure, for example, there's not a problem with your DHCP environment, which is stopping or preventing. And the idea is that when we actually do this, when we start investigating, we can provide you a lot more information. So if I look at firewalls specifically, so where we start, how we start our investigation, we call our intelligent triage process, is by looking at behavior. So if we take, for example, if we're monitoring the external interface on a firewall, the incoming traffic, we have automations in place that look for unusual volume spikes, or are we seeing a step increase of traffic? Because those are the types of activity which can actually affect performance and problems. So once our NOC team are alerted, we respond, we investigate, and we update the support ticket. So in this scenario, if we're seeing cyclic patterns exist in the traffic spikes, we know there is a major problem. We can log onto that firewall, we can go into the traffic log, and we can see what type and what source is actually happening. And then we can determine, actually, Mr. Customer, you've got a DDoS attack happening, or we've seen a crazy large file transfer happening, which again determines potentially suspicious traffic or a possible attack. And then as part of our onboarding process, you may want to block that immediately. And that's all about having the ability to log onto the firewall and take those necessary actions before they become an actual problem. Wi-Fi. So obviously we've been doing Wi-Fi for 20 years. We know very well, we understand what the dependencies are. So when we build a Wi-Fi service under our new Monitor Plus SLA, we actually can monitor everything which affects the Wi-Fi. So even if, say, for example, I've lost a load of my connectivity to my APs and my Wi-Fi controllers, it could be down to radius, it could be down to user experience, it could be down to the PoE switches that's powering those APs. It could be down to the fact that the ISP has gone down and we can't connect to it. So what we're trying to say here is that we give you more of a holistic view of the environment so we can provide better responses that help you. We have customers in South Africa that have gone to the next level where they want to actually look at the CCTV footage. They want to see what the temperatures are in their data centers. They want to see who went, at what time people went in. So there's lots more information you can start correlating together to get a nice picture of what's going on. So if we look at behavior again, so I'm specifically going to the Wi-Fi again. So a typical one the customers ask us is obviously there's slow connections, drop service, users are complaining. Well, ideally you don't want that to be reactive, you want that to be proactive. So we have threshold alerts that look at 40 clients plus high network traffic. So we see both of them. We straight away can start looking into the problem. We can identify which SSID broadcast is affecting. We can look at the clients connecting them. Are they known? Do they work for the organization? Or are they unknown? Are they the guest network? All right, if it's the guest network, have you planned an event? Or are we seeing out of hours unusual usage, that somehow someone's got hold of the authentication method and using it out of hours. We can look at the patterns in peak times of AP. One interesting area is looking at the APs that are surrounding that particular access point that's overloaded, because for some reason those APs might have a problem, because if they've suddenly dropped or they've gone down, that means the clients are connecting to one AP. So could it be down to APs failing, could be down to the LAN switch, or has been a misconfiguration. And then we talk about, finally, I'll be moving on swiftly to what I say, I mean, video surveillance. Obviously, it's not a KHIPU service, as in we don't provide video surveillance, but
Matt,
yes.
Just going to jump in. We've had a question from one of our attendees asking, can we monitor things in the cloud?
Yes, we can. We can monitor Office 365, Azure, and Amazon Web Services. So yes, we can. We just need to create sensors for them. Does that answer the question?
Brilliant. Yeah, I think so. Perfect. Thank you. Carry on.
Good. Thanks, Greg. So I can't see the questions because I only see my slide deck. So if we now look at video surveillance, so we have customers in our South African region. It's quite popular. Them is their CCT infrastructure. So this is where we work with you, because obviously we're not CCTV experts, but we actually get the information from you or from your CCT vendor and look at the things which affect how CCTV works. So, for example, servers, look at monitoring the storage requirements of those servers, making sure that the CCT data feed doesn't get congested. Look at the battery life of solar-powered cameras. Look at the UPS, looking at temperatures, and then obviously we're monitoring the Wi-Fi, because if they're Wi-Fi CCTV, you want to make sure the Wi-Fi is up. So lots of different things. So this is an example where we build the dependencies based upon specific customer requirements. The next big thing for us is industrial systems. We have customers that have mission critical, life depending, health related applications that they want us to monitor, because if they go down, obviously has a serious effect to the hospital. So really anything which is mission critical outside of your IT infrastructure but relies on the infrastructure, we can monitor and provide support on. The next phase with this is this particular customer said, well, okay, that's great that you can do all these fantastic dependencies, but can you actually link into my CCTV system? Because if you can do that, I can then go to my estates team and tell them, actually, you can use our system, which obviously will save them from buying their own system, and give them access. So this is one of our customers in South Africa. So not only do we do dependencies on the video surveillance, we monitor all of their CCTV cameras, and then they can link directly into their CCTV system to get a single pane of glass. So the idea is you have a single dashboard that can access multiple systems and build dependencies. And as I mentioned, we have kind of a document which we're happy to share with everyone. So if you do come on board, in this document, it has 30 plus templates on behavior types that affect the availability of infrastructure. Common ones, obviously, interesting ones that I find, obviously, radius being obviously the heart and soul of the Wi-Fi. If we stop seeing requests during normal hours, obviously there's going to be a problem there. But suddenly, what happens if we start seeing a huge amount of requests out of hours, which also means there's some interesting things going on. So there's lots of cool things that we can do, and I can share this with you after the session, just conscious of time. So we have customers on this session that have been with us for 20 years, which is fantastic. And we've got customers that have been with us for 3 months, which is also great. We have what we've done over the last 6 months is sort of poll them and say, okay, you know, using our remote monitoring service, you know, what is kind of the top outcomes and top benefits? And I think the number one, when we speak to all of them, is the coverage, the out of hours. You know, when people are on holiday or during daytime, if their team's too busy, knowing that we are there monitoring their estate, picking up problems, whether or not it's something's actually failed, or we are seeing warning alerts, which could mean that something could fail, that we are monitoring it 24/7. We have customers that are so pleased to get a phone call at 3 a.m. Telling them that they've seen problems on their on their core switches, so it does show that and gives you confidence that it's the ability to help those teams that do not have necessarily the staff or the out of hours capabilities. I talked about, so the monitoring not just individual systems but their dependency. I think that's so far a big requirement for our customers, because their teams are getting smaller, projects are getting bigger for them, and if they have a problem, they can't suddenly stop what they're doing. They have to proceed with their projects and strategic development, not just business as usual. So us being able to work with them and build a dependency map is so valuable to them, because they can see straight away if they've got a core, what's it going to affect? If their Wi-Fi goes down, what does it affect? And it gives them the ability to either alert those particular departments or provide the necessary support if those areas go down. We have some customers that are using this to, over time, collapse their existing monitoring platforms into ours, or we have some customers that might invest in a lot of money, say in certain configuration management platforms like SolarWinds, like Aruba Central, but they still want to use them for configuration. So having the one dashboard to obviously have the health of them, but also then connect to those other configuration tools is really key. So the idea is to bring everything central. One good point to also make is when we do our topology mapping, we also get an inventory of the software versions. So when we need an upgrade, which you need for bug fixes, for vulnerabilities, so you can log in straight away from one dashboard and you can see the software version of whatever in monitoring, and gives you that nice inventory. And just to finish off, a fully operational NOC collaboration. So whilst we call it a managed SOC, it's a collaboration. We don't take away the car keys. We share the information, because from our perspective, a real NOC service is one which works the teams that are actually at the organisation, because then the service becomes a lot more effective. You know more about your estate than we do. So having that complementary service where we work with you out of hours, or we work with you in hours, or we do more out of hours, gives the ability for us to provide more value to our customers. And just to finish off, two lovely testimonials, one from RBKC. RBKC, again, have been a fantastic customer of ours since 2007. They're one of our first Wi-Fi customers. And again, we've been doing remote monitoring for many, many years, and they're very pleased, especially with the out of hours calling saying there's a problem. And we have one of our new customers, which is Royal Central School of Speech and Drama. Again, they've got big user numbers, but actually have a very, very small team. So the ability to have that 24/7 NOC gives them the facilities they need. And that's me. Thank you very much.
Amazing. Thank you, Matt. I'm just conscious of time, but we do have one other question,
Yes.
Which is, what are the most common types of incidents that your NOC handles?
Yeah, it's Wi-Fi related. So because we're big, our customer environments are very big Wi-Fi. So they range from, we have 100 users up to, our biggest one is 47,000 users. So Wi-Fi for us is probably our top logged call. And what we do with those, because we know the dependencies of what affects, the user, the client. Is it the client? Is it the AP, the location? We have very, very quick ways of identifying what the problem is and then sharing that with the customer. So Wi-Fi probably is our biggest type of incident that we see.
Brilliant. Excellent. Well, if there's no more questions for Matt, well, thank him for that. One other, sorry. Daniel Holter, are you able to liaise with third parties out of hours on customers' behalf, thinking of ISPs, etc.?
Hi, Dan. Yes, we do. So in that example of the CCTV that I did, because we do not support the CCTV cameras because they didn't buy it from us, we have to log a call with their third-party CCTV maintainer out of hours. So yes, as part of the onboarding process, if there's an area, like I say, like access control or even ISP routers, we can liaise on behalf of the customer when we start seeing issues, as long as obviously the customer's given us authority to do so.